This is a time when we get to join together and connect and explore new possibilities. I mean, after all, it's 2021. What else could happen? Apparently, quite a bit. We are navigating changes that, well, seem a bit unprecedented, but some of them, well, there's shades of gray all over the place. So you have to decide for yourself what's really going on. And how can you make a shift and a change in your own life? Because as you make your changes, as you navigate life, you're going to find that there are things in the energy that you can create. And you may not see all the results right away, but if you visualize, if you set your intentions, if you hold it, it will come to pass. And sometimes the world has to just, well, reorganize itself. And if there ever was a time of reorganization, now's the time. For all of us, what would you like to shift and change? Well, this is a new moon tonight, and we are starting a new cycle, a new moon cycle in a new year cycle in the first month, and it's the 13th day. And what a day it's been. My goodness, the news is just hopping. But I get the sense that since March of 2020, the news has really been a very busy business. I've got a lot to say. But before you put all of your eggs in the baskets that are being set before you, it's really good for you to take a good look at what you want to place in front of you that is what's most important to you. You see, the angels, the guides, we're really not alone. There is a divine source. If you're listening to the show, you know we talk about spiritual things. We talk about connectivity. We give you messages of hope and inspiration, and we guide you on this path. But it's not a path to say, think what I think, believe what I believe. It is a path for you to step forward in your life and choose what really feels good for you, what resonates with you, and design your own relationship in the heavens. And connect to your angels and your guides. And all I offer to do is to serve as the conduit of the energy that passes through me and relays the information to you. And many of you have been following the show now for a very long time. If you're just joining us, well, we've been here for 11 years. Actually, it'll be 12 in May. And we are connecting in a way that gives everyone a nugget of information, much like the little squirrel. Just kind of store it away somewhere. And when you're ready, dig it out and kind of chew on it a bit and really divulge the information and really put it in your being and see where you're going. It's a time for you to choose what's going to be important for you for not just this year, but the years to come. Whether you realize it or not, the world is preparing itself for some major changes. The whole world, not just America, the world. And as every nation strategizes, every country begins to realign itself, they're making choices. But you have to choose how you would like to exist in the changes that are being made. And how does that translate to your life and the flow? You know, if someone says on the news that we're headed for a particular type of economy, does that mean that it has to really impact you? Well, the minute you take in the energy of whatever's going on, you bring it into your energy of your vortex, your spiritual circle. So if you're bringing into your life the energy of what's being said, by continually thinking about it and bringing it into your being and feeling that if something's supposed to take a downturn, that it's going to impact you. Now, we know there's a residual effect of everything. But how you hold the vision and how you set your intentions and choose to live your life has great power over what's going on around you. At least how it impacts you personally. And if instead of seeing all the doom and gloom that's there before you, and Lord knows it's really been a little dicey on the television, at least as far as the news is concerned, you're seeing things unfold. But the more attention that you place on that energy, the more thought process that is mulled about in your being, the more you invite things to happen in your experience directly to you. I have to say this. There's quite a few of you. We are very fortunate, I guess, that we were given masks. They were sent in the mail. People received their masks. And some people got some colors, others got other colors. There's some schools of thought as to what group of communities got what colors, but I'm not here to talk about what color your mask is. I want to draw your attention to something else. So they say we're fighting an unseen enemy, which has this repercussions that have been, detrimental to mankind, detrimental to our well-being, detrimental to our way of life. But did you know that when you put on one of the masks that we were sent, and it says stop, and it says COVID, that every time you see that energy, that word has a frequency. Notice I'm not saying it. That virus has a frequency. And as you wear the mask that has that, you have that frequency now in your energy. Now, is SarahSpiritual trying to tell you that whether you get a virus or not is really based on what's on your mask? No, I'm not saying that. So nobody run off and think I said that. What I'm saying is that we're talking about the law of attraction. We're talking about power. We're talking about energy. We're talking about frequency. We're talking about what you allow in your energetic bubble. And everyone got their mask and they sent us masks. Woohoo, happy doo-dah. And you take your mask and you put it on and you're running around with this disease that everybody's talking about. Everybody's living. Everyone's experiencing. If you haven't been through it, you know someone who's been through it. If you didn't lose someone, you know someone who lost someone. And there's this momentum. And it's getting closer and closer and closer and closer. So careful what you put in your energy. When my masks came in, I said, oh, thank you very much. I threw them out. Just they're in the garbage. I'm not going to wear that mask. I'll wear a different mask, but I'm not going to wear one that advertises a virus that is the enemy and invite it into my own energetic home camp. And the reason why I bring this up is because it's a visual that many of you can relate to. Many of you have received these masks at your home. And you're seeing things unfold on the television now of different circumstances. And it's hitting us really low in the gut. It's like a gut punch. But careful that is not the only thing you're talking about. Careful that you are not perpetuating the energy by being in this state of angst. Because angst attracts angst. Anger attracts anger. Love attracts love. So when you see something, send it energy for transformation. Notice what is offensive to you. Ask the universe, ask your angels to assist you and to assist us, mankind, to recalibrate and balance this out. Because we have that power. You have more power than you've ever realized. That inside of you, there is a spark, an energy, a connection that it just automatically taps you into the energy of God. The big one, the G-O-D, the Source God, the Mother, Father God, the divine supreme essence of the universe, whatever word floats your boat. But when you make that connection, you become invincible, undefeatable. You become someone that, regardless of what comes your way, whatever the obstacle may appear to be, you may pass through the obstacle. It doesn't make you unable to be impacted by things in the world. But you come out of it okay. Have you ever been driving and have one of those near misses on the road? If you're here in South Florida, it could be an everyday occurrence. I don't know, but you have one of those misses that you're like, oh, whoa, that was a close one. And then suddenly you scratch your head going, wow, I narrowly escaped that and I don't even know how. Because when you're connected, when you are in the center of your heart, when you're owning who you are and taking responsibility for your actions, the positive ones and the less than positive ones, and when you're trying to shift your consciousness and align more to the energy of love and hope and compassion and passion and connectivity to source and angels and guides, following the written word of something that inspires you, that connects you, when you choose that path, then the harm that may have befalled upon you cannot tap into you the way it may have had you not aligned yourself to source. And the minute you plug in, it's not like your radio or your cell phone that needs a charge or your computer. When you plug it in, nothing happens. You plug into a current, the current comes from the source and is transformed into the article that is being plugged into the wall, and suddenly it is illuminated, it is charged with energy. So I want you to imagine yourself as a receptacle that receives energy, something that needs charging or recharging. And I want you to, when you're feeling out of sorts, or the world around you is just so chaotic and out of sorts, I want you to plug yourself in. And I want you to draw forth the current and the energy that's divine and pure. Please don't just pull all your energy from plugging into the television and the radio and the negativity and the social media, because that is going to charge you with all the frequencies that you are witnessing before you. It is going to charge you with the energy of disease and malaise and virus and pandemics and things. It's going to charge you with the energy of the horrible experiences that people are having. It is going to charge you with the energy of poverty. It is going to charge you with the energy of violence. You're going to be filled with these energies. And then you leave your house and wonder why you're not in a good mood. Who could be? And again, I'm not saying stick your head in the sand and don't see what's coming. But I am saying when you watch it as the impersonal observer observing something unfold, and do not allow all of your emotions and your feelings to get hooked into every little thing that you see. Imagine you have your mask and every day you're looking at your face holding the energy of a virus. Is that the message that you want to transmit through your eyes to register to your brain? To create a frequency and a magnet to draw forth to you exactly what you're working so hard to avoid? You've got to look at this totally differently than they're presenting it to you right now. You've got to look at yourself as a receptacle of energy. And you choose. You put garbage in, garbage comes out. You put light and love in, light and love comes out. Now, I'm not saying if we think happy thoughts that everything will always be perfect, because we have certain things that we have to pass through. We have certain obstacles. We have certain tests, lessons, experiences that test our faith, that test our connectivity, that test our strength, that test our courage. And if you look at all the spiritual leaders that have gone before us, the spiritual gurus that have gone before us, and even the deities and the angels and the God that we pray to, anything that's been incarnated in the physical or has had experiences that have been documented, and I know it's mankind, so perhaps there's a little twist and turn in the story that we're missing. But they all had to pass through a series of trials and tribulations so that they could disassociate themselves from the worldly experiences, disassociate themselves from what was going on, and not lose themselves in the illusion of the garbage that was coming at them, and choose their power, their receptacle, and choose to tune up and light up with the source energy of God. And everyone listening to the show, everyone in the nation, everyone in the world has that power. And there's no law, there's no regulation, nothing can take that from you. Nothing can remove you from your source connection to God, nothing. Even those who've been tortured for their way they worship or who they worship or how they worship, no one could take what was in their heart. It is a connection that is divine. It is an unseen frequency that fuels you. And that's not a right or a liberty someone can take. Can they take away your right to congregate? They could. Could they take it? They did. Wait a minute. They could. They did. Can they take away your right to post what you think on social media? They kind of did that too. So there's a lot of things that could be taken away. Well, when you sit alone with Source, when you sit with your angels, when you talk to your loved ones who've passed before you, nobody can take that connection away from you. And that's what fuels you. But we're looking at all these outside sources to fuel us. We're looking at the energy of even food that has no nutritional value that we put in our bodies, little to none, really not much. And we're putting that in our body and trying to fuel ourselves and wonder why we don't feel well, or we're getting sick, or we're anemic, or we don't have enough energy to make it through the day, or we're not sleeping right. Because we're taking everything that has been calibrated by man and putting it in our bodies. And then we're taking the thoughts and the opinions and the stories that are being fed to us, and we're letting it be calibrated by man, and we're taking it in our minds. And our mind is a computer that's constantly throwing at us millions of images throughout the course of the day, whether you're actively thinking about it. Just like your iPhone or your Samsung Galaxy, you've got all of these apps of impressions, of experiences, and things that you've seen through your eye, even if it was just for a minute, passing through you, and that's lying underneath the surface and always pulling down on you, even though you're not actively thinking about what you saw in the news yesterday or the day before. And yes, I understand there's been some horrific things, and I've had many people, personal friends of mine, are like, oh my God, I'm out of my mind with what I'm seeing. And it's cause for concern. But how much power do you want to give it by using it as a cause for worry and fear and more creation of more? You have to process a little differently, because it's depleting everything that fuels you and keeps you on the path of the destiny that's really before you. You did choose to reincarnate in a time that's going to be a bit challenging. Yes, we see that. You did choose to be here on this planet and experience a shift of mankind. You did choose to be a part of an experience that is, well, reminiscent of the 1800s, reminiscent of the early 1900s. You chose to be a part of certain times in life that we are now here again. A different way, a different version, but it's still the same underlying application, playing and pulling the same storyline with just different characters, different scenery. But it's all about conflict. Does that sound like a connection that's tapping into the divine source? Does that sound like you're fueling yourself with what will really make your life special, wonderful, and what will really allow you to bless others? You know, when I come here every Wednesday night, I ask the Spirit, what are we going to talk about? And they always say, yeah, wait till you sit down in front of the microphone and we'll talk to you. I'm like, well, can't I have a little heads up? They're like, no. Because there's a power that if you allow yourself to be the conduit of greatness, goodness, inspiration, love, and light, you too can relay information or experiences or an expression of who you are that can empower others. It's not just unique unto me. I have my way of doing it. But every one of you is here to make a difference in the world. So on this new moon, in this new month, in the new year, in crazy times, sit down and take a good look at who you really are and applaud the energy, the receptacle, the being that is you, that receives the divine energy of the divine source God. Because together, in the quiet of our own homes, in our own conversations with God, each one of us can make a difference.